Welcome to the Philadelphia 76ers preview show. Chris Miles here with the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas and the Coach of the Year, Sam Mitchell. The last time we saw the 76ers, they were on the wrong end of a historic shot in NBA history. Kawhi Leonard's touch every part of the rim, Game 7 shot. How does a shot like that affect your offseason and the way you go into next year, Isaiah?
The team or Kawhi?
The opposing team, the Philadelphia 76ers.
When you lose like that on such a heartbreaker, the whole summer and every day, you are really thinking about how can I get better, what did I do wrong, and how do I need to improve? And I think that the two guys who took it the hardest was Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And I think those two guys went back and worked this summer. I think Embiid worked on his stamina, worked on his conditioning, and I think he's going to come back a better player. Ben Simmons said he worked on his jump shot. Now, I hope Ben Simmons comes back and continues to play and perform well. But I think the most important thing, and I said this last year, Sam, I think the most important thing for Ben Simmons is not his jump shooting, but his foul shooting. If he becomes a better foul shooter,
I agree.
Then he can stay in the game at the end of the game because he's a playmaker. But when he's a poor foul shooter and jump shooter, it's hard to have him out on the floor at the end of the game.
Sam, before we talk about Ben Simmons, that's later in the show because he gets his entire section from the way that he shoots. But getting back to the Kawhi shot and how that could linger in the offseason or the next season, as a coach, how do you approach that? Do you address that immediately? Or do you not talk about it at all?
Well, you address it. And this is the thing. It should be fuel for the fire. Think about that shot. Joel Embiid has one of the best off seasons ever. He loses 20 pounds. Isaiah's point. Ben Simmons now understands that, it's one thing to talk about improving your jump shot like all players do. It's another thing to get in the gym and put the work in. And then you look at what Elton Brand and that front office did. Look at the players that they signed. Look how they revamped this roster. Yeah, they lost a little outside shooting when they lost J.J. Redick. But when you look at the potential this team has defensively, and then last but not least, if Joel Embiid can play 71 games, and to Zeke's point, if Ben Simmons can become a 68 to 72% free throw shooter to where he's not a liability at the end of the game, this Philadelphia 76ers team could be scary because you look at what Milwaukee lost from shooting and they lost Brogdon, and you look at what Philly added. I mean, this is the right time for Philadelphia if Joel Embiid can stay healthy. That's the key. If he can play 71 games and go into the playoffs healthy for the first time, then we'll see what Philadelphia finally can be.
Well, then that makes it interesting, the signing of Al Horford, 4 years, $109 million. He's a guy that's a proven all-star, proven to be a guy in the postseason that steps up and can be a leader. But when you look at him next to Joel Embiid, it doesn't seem like the best fit. So why did they bring him in? How does he work with Joel Embiid as a tandem?
You ask, what do you do after a shot like that? You go sign a man, a grown man, a pro. Think about it. No disrespect to the Philadelphia 76ers, but what's Al Horford's biggest strength? Yeah, he's a solid player on both ends of the floor, but Al Horford's biggest strength is that he's a man. He's the consummate pro. And now when he walks in that locker room and you see the type of teams he's played on, you look at his career, he's quiet, but he's steady. He's a man. He brings peace, calmness to this locker room, a certain level of professionalism, and you're going to see the best of Joel Embiid this year because Al comes to camp in shape. Al plays 82 games. Al's in the right place offensively and defensively every night. So I think what Elton Brand was looking at, the production offensively with Al Horford, but all the other things that he's going to bring to this team and the mentality. I think the time is right. If Philadelphia, look, you hate to say this, but if Philadelphia can't get it right and get it done with this group, it's hard to see this group of this management putting together a better team than what they put together thus far.
Yeah, and I'll say this, to expand on your point about Al is that, what the numbers talk about is, his stats, so forth and so on. But winning is about your emotional impact and your psychological impact that you have on a team and on the opponent that allows you to get those numbers. And what you talked about in terms of Al being a man, yeah, he's a man that brings that emotional, psychological impact to a team, a very young team. When you talk about Embiid and Simmons being the leaders of the team, we look at them from a talent perspective and a skill perspective, but we don't look at them from their intellectual and their emotional growth in terms of how they're going to respond to certain situations. So, you know, what Elton Brand did, you're 100% right, is he didn't say, who can get me 15 points and 10 rebounds? He said, who could bring emotional and psychological stability to my team? And that's why we're going to pay Horford.
And see, Chris, you know, the problem with professional sports is that we always want the best player to be the leader. So we try to, sometimes the best player is not a leader. And when you look at Philadelphia, their best players could develop into great leaders, but they're young. Okay? Al Horford, when he walks in the door, he's going to command instant respect from everybody on that team and everybody in the front office. So I think it was a great sign, a great pickup. And I have Philadelphia coming out of the East this year.
I mean, you can look at Horford and say, okay, this guy one day when he's done playing, he can be a congressman, right?
Yep.
He can run for the Senate. You know, he has that type of, you know, presence. And when you put that on your basketball team, it definitely uplifts it.
Well, let's see if the jumper of Ben Simmons can be uplifted as well. Videos have surfaced this summer of Ben knocking down jumpers. Recently, he caught up with Jared Greenberg at 76ers Media Day.
We want to do it for ourselves and our team. It's not for the people who were, you know, talking to us on social media and things like that. At the end of the day, you know, we love our fans. No matter what, we love when they, you know, let us know when we're not doing well, but we love when they support us too. And I've had that in Game 1 against Brooklyn when they were going at me. And I give it back to the fans and let them know that I love them. You know, it's a lot of love, and they want to see us do well. And that's why, you know, I'm so happy to be here for another 5 years. And it's just an exciting time.
All right, you know where I'm going next, right?
I don't.
Come on, Ben. We sat here 1 year ago, you and I, and we had a conversation about what you did over the summer. So before I even get to what we may or may not see this year, what was the reason, if you could take us and give us a little insight as to why you worked last summer on a jump shot and we never saw a perimeter game from you during the season last year?
I think the difference with this summer and last summer was I got into a place where I was working, but it wasn't on the same level. And I think this summer has been completely different to where, you know, I just don't care. I'm going to work. I'm going to miss shots. I'll probably airball a few, whatever. It's going to happen. But I'm also going to make shots. And at the end of the day, that's how you get better. Because if everybody was perfect, then we'd have
a lot more
hundreds of tons of banners or whatever it is. So no one's perfect. No one player is perfect. Now I was able to be an all-star without that aspect of my game last season, and just adding that is a scary thing.
So is it, just trying to analyze what you said there, was it as simple as you felt last year the confidence level wasn't where it needed to be taken?
I'm confident now. And it's not just about confident shooting the ball, it's just a confident player. I'm not worried about what people are going to say.
So is there a goal or is there a number in terms of, let's just talk 3-point shots?
My goal is to hang a banner up there.
Right.
I'm not trying to shoot as many, take a certain amount of threes or whatever it is. I'm going to take what the game gives me.
What about the free throw shooting?
Yeah.
How much have you worked on that aspect of your game?
All summer.
And what did you find? Was it mechanical? Was it above the shoulders?
It's repetition, repping the right way and doing the right things and finding a place where you feel comfortable.
A great interview by our colleague Jared Greenberg, because there's so much to break down. Let's take a look at this graphic, and it's easy to look at the three-point shot. Yeah, he took 6 of them, but the league average for shots inside the paint but outside the restricted area, Ben Simmons was beneath the league average there. And then from 10 feet and beyond, he only took 67 shots and shot 20% from the field in what we essentially call the mid-range now. So, Sam, when you see those numbers...
I want you to go to Zeke first. For this reason. Wait. For this reason, because Zeke said something when we were in the green room about shooting, and he said to him, the most important aspect of Ben Simmons shooting is what?
Right now, it's foul shooting.
There you go.
And that wasn't even on the graphic. Yeah, and so much.
And as a point guard and as a leader of the team, right, your job at the end of the game, what we call a go-to player. A go-to player is a player who can get his own shot or create a shot for somebody else, don't turn the ball over, and when you get fouled, you can go to the line and make free throws. Those four things at the end of the game is what I'm thinking about as a coach when I'm diagramming a play for that person. If Ben Simmons becomes a better foul shooter, he is the best go-to player that you have on the 76ers because he's such an excellent passer, okay? He can get his own shot in the post, and if he gets fouled, right, he can go to the line and make free throws. That's how you win basketball games.
Let this Hall of Famer educate you.
One more time, because it was one line in the middle of that. Ben Simmons gets a better free throw shot. What is he for the Philadelphia 76ers?
He is the best go-to player that they will have because he can create for others. If you put him down in the post or in this 10 feet range, right, he can get a shot, he can score it. And then if you foul him, he can go to the line and make free throws. He's not going to turn the ball over. If he becomes a high percentage foul shooter at the end of the game, then you got something that's really, really special. So Ben Simmons developing a three-point shot, all right, that don't excite me. Ben Simmons becoming a great foul shooter or a better foul shooter, now that's how you win championships.
So hold on, let me break it down to you.
Mm-hmm.
In case, I know you highly educated, Isaiah highly educated. Let me dumb it down to you for basketball. End of the game, is Ben Simmons going to have the ball or he going to be on the wing spotted up for a shot?
He's going to have the ball.
Voila! So if he's going to have the ball, 90% of the time, coach, put your coach hat on. When you draw up a play for a guy and you're tied or you're down one,
yeah,
you want him shooting a jumper or do you want him going to the hole?
I want you to score me the basket.
Yes.
Give me 2 points.
So, and the easiest way to do that, if you're Ben Simmons at 6'10" and all the athleticism, is to get to the hole because at your size, you're going to get fouled. So this is the thing, what Isaiah is saying, Coach Isaiah is saying. Ben Simmons is going to have the ball. He's not going to be the guy in the corner spotting up. He's going to be the guy facilitating. So now in the past, if you could just grab Ben,
yeah,
make him go to the free throw line. But if he's a good free throw shooter and he has the ball and he's coming at you, and this is another myth. Everybody think because I stand right here from you to me, Chris, that's good defense. Wrong, you're going to get beat. Why? You're in a standstill position. I'm coming at you with a live dribble. You're guessing. Even if you guess right, if I'm coming full speed and you step in front of me and there's contact, who the foul on, me or you?
Yeah.
You. So again, I used to teach my players this all the time. You're in the no man's land if you're 10 feet off. You got to get up into a guy and force him the way you want. So to Isaiah's point, look, make some threes, make some 17-footers, but focus your time and energy on the free throw line because at the end of the game, you're going to have the ball. You're not going to be the one like J.J. Redick spotted up in the corner and someone else going to have the ball kicking it to you for the three.
Last and final point. Magic Johnson became the MVP of the league because he improved his foul shooting. He was getting to the line 9-10 times a night, and that's how he raised his scoring average, not becoming a better jump shooter.
Interesting comparison because the Magic Johnson, Ben Simmons comparison, that's one that's always there as tall point guards. But you know, there's someone else that the 76ers re-signed this offseason. 5-year, $180 million deal for Tobias Harris. We didn't even get to talk about him yet. That's up next as we break down the Philadelphia 76ers. Was undeniably the closer for the Philadelphia 76ers last year, but he's now a member of the Miami Heat. Josh Richardson came over in the trade for Jimmy Butler. Tobias Harris re-signed 5 years, $180 million. He's clearly a guy they can trust. What would his role be on this team next year, Sam?
He's going to kind of be like the de facto Jimmy Butler. Tobias a professional scorer. He's one of those guys that can score but can shoot. You know, he can make threes. He got a good mid-range game. He can take the ball to the basket. He's just another very, very good player. And Zeke, I would say he's a player just a step below an all-star. This guy can come out. He can win you some games. So when you look at this depth of this Philadelphia team, who do you key on? Yeah, they don't have J.J. Redick, a great three-point shooter anymore, but they got guys who can score in different ways.
Yeah, and the thing I love about Tobias Harris is that he's a guy that you can trust, Sam. And you know, as a coach, you play the guys that you can trust. Yep. And at the end of the game, you can trust him to to do the right things, to set the screen, to be in the right position, to take the shot, and possibly make the shot for others. I like Tobias. I like his mental makeup. I like what he brings from a steadiness standpoint and his consistency. Every time he walks on the floor, every time he walks through the door, you know the type of personality you're going to get, you know the type of person you're going to get, and you know the type of play you're going to get. So, consistency breeds trust, and Tobias is somebody that you can trust.
What about Josh Richardson? He is not the guy you see featured on all their billboards. It's Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, then Tobias Harris. But he was an incredible player for the Miami Heat. What's his strengths? His
strength is that he's the perfect complement for Ben Simmons and Embiid personality-wise, because he's not a guy that – I thought when Jimmy Butler was there, they talked about 3 stars, and there was competition between the 3 stars. I think Josh will come in and just be a good player, and Embiid and Simmons will be the talk, will be the conversation. I think he'll be comfortable with Embiid and Simmons being a talk in the conversation, and Josh will just do his thing out on the floor.
When Josh is the guy that you don't think about going into the game. Think about it.
Yeah.
This is a very good player.
He took shots the
when
game
you look at Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Embiid, that's who teams are going to be focused on. But when you think about this guy, and then you look at what he does on both ends of the floor, then you look at the energy. He's going to be that glue guy for this Philadelphia team. He's the guy that Brett Brown can depend on. I don't have to run no plays for him. He's going to be okay. He's going to bring it every night. He's going to be able to knock down shots. He could take it to the hole. But I think his biggest strength is he's just going to be that glue guy for Philadelphia. And Brett's going to use him to do a little bit of everything, because he can be on the ball and handle the point guard position a little bit when Ben goes to the bench.
Seems like an extremely positive season ahead for the Philadelphia 76ers. You're saying Josh Richardson as a glue guy, Al Horford, highly
Very nice. I don't know if I ever been that skinny.
Congratulations to Skinny Chuck. What do you guys think?
He looks great.
I love it. He hadn't been that skinny since birth, but I love it.
And now we just waiting for the TNT statue of Chuck, because he definitely needs a statue here, because he's had a phenomenal television career as well as an NBA career, and probably is well known for his television career more so than his basketball career.
That's an interesting point, Isaiah. Well, Jared Greenberg caught up with the 76ers' newest forward, Al Horford.
What was it about this organization that you felt like you wanted to make the move from Boston to here?
Well, I don't know about for a while. I had, it was a very quick type of process, but looking at what everything that they had to offer here, the culture that they had here, and looking at Ben Simmons, Joel, Tobias, and the future where they were heading, I just felt like it was going to be a good place for me, and being able to play my power forward position, more power forward as opposed to center, was very appealing as well.
We talked a lot about that when you were in Atlanta, how much it meant to you to play the power forward too. To get back to that, and after having to play so much center in Boston, how is it a relief for you? Is that the kind of way to describe it?
It's exciting for me. It's a different challenge. I'm still going to play some center here too, right. But just more minutes at the power forward. It's something that I've always wanted and hoped for. So I'm excited about that.
Al, I know the particulars are very different, but just the comparisons between what you went through going into last year with Boston and how high the expectations were for that team versus the expectations now for this team. What did you learn about the journey last year with the Celtics that you can help make sure things go right this year here in Philly?
Yeah, I learned a lot of things, but, one of the things is that, we can't get caught up on all the expectations and what people expect out of us. I think one of the things that I learned is that you just have to, come out and continue to work and stick together. And I felt like in Boston we did that a lot of the time, but it was just very difficult to be consistent as we needed to, every night. So that's something that coming into this scenario, I'm looking for our guys to make sure that we're consistent and that we're working hard.
Consistently working hard, but what are the expectations for the Philadelphia 76ers next season? We'll discuss next on their preview show. Well, the Philadelphia 76ers were second in rebound percentage and 8th in offensive rating last year, and that can be attributed to Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and how effective they were last year. The 76ers also finished third in the Eastern Conference, so we know what they did before. We know the additions to the team this year, more or less 55.5 wins.
I think it's more than 55.5 wins. I know that's a lot of games right there, but when you look at the Eastern Conference, other than Milwaukee, who are they going to be competing with on a night in and night out? So if they take care of the East like we think they should, and they split with the West, I think they have a chance to win more than 55.5 games.
I agree with Sam, and the reason why I agree with him is also the addition of Horford. I think he's won everywhere. He's won in college. He was a big part of that Celtics winning franchise when they was winning some games, even though they didn't get to the finals or anything.
Atlanta Hawks as well.
The Atlanta Hawks, when they won 6, they had 5 All-Stars with
Yes.
the Atlanta Hawks, and he was a big part of that. So I think Al just knows how to win. He knows how to bring a locker room together, and I'm a big fan of his. So, I think they win more.
And I think Brett Brown finally got his hand on this team, and he understands their strengths and weaknesses and how to put everybody in the spot to where they can be at their best.
And I think Elton Brand should be the executive of the year if
they
pull
do what
this
they're
off.
supposed to do.
They
Yep.
pull
Yep,
this
and
off.
Joel Embiid's health, very key to this team. They were 8-10 in the 18 games he missed last season. If he can get that up, he said his goal is to play 70 games this year. If he can do that.
If he plays 70, they'll win more than 55.
Yeah, there you go. He's Sam Mitchell. That's Isaiah Thomas. I'm Chris Miles. Thanks for hanging out with us.